tell us how you got the client.
I work only by referral.
Okay.
So all my clients are either referred to me or are my past clients because I work strictly only by that.
Okay, got it. So this was a terrific deal. It was a $3.3 million deal. So tell us about how you got it sold.
So in this instance, this client, because I do mostly referral and repeat kind of business, every time I sell a house to a buyer, in which case these were my buyers when I sold it to them, because they were my sellers in their previous house that I was selling for them.
Great.
So whenever somebody buys from me, I usually like to understand what are their long-term goals with the property, even if it is their primary residence, as to are they primary hold or primary up to a certain point and they want to unload, or what is their financial goal. So pretty much with every buyer, when I sell a house, I have an understanding of how long they plan to stay there.
Yeah, so this was, you sold this house to the seller and then you sold it again.
Correct. So when I sold it to them, I had gone over the same questioning I do with every client. Okay, we have acquired this. What's the long-term goal? How long do you want to stay? When would you like to? Because, you know, the classic, they say every 7 years, it used to be, I don't know what it is now.
That's what we say about 7 years. Yeah.
Right. And so I always like to understand, for some people it could be 10, for some people it could be 2. So you don't know what their goals are when we are selling them. So I always like an understanding. In this particular instance, he had given me a number and said, I think roughly the market will take 10 years to hit this number. But whenever this number hits, I'm planning to dump.
Yeah. Well, and then you kept your nurture program and you were ready when the opportunity presented itself.
So I called him because of the escalating market with last year. So I called them and said, hey, let's get together. We went out for some wine. I like to do business over wine. That's my style. So I called them and we went out for wine and I told them where the market stands. And nothing in that neighborhood had sold for over 2.6. And so I said, it is crazy. If you want to put a reach number, we can put it. And I think we'll get close to it. And that was the number you had given me when I sold you the property, and you thought it would take you 10 years to get there, but I think we are there now. What do you want to do? And he said, go for it, Aarti. And I did.
Awesome. Well, so great tips there. Be aware of your clients' long-term goals and then reach back out to them because they may have already hit their long-term goals and be in position which your clients were. Aarti, congratulations. That's terrific. We're so happy for you.
Thank you. And in terms of marketing, because it was such a super stretch goal, tell you the truth. Shall I really tell you what I did?
Tell us what you did.
Okay. So with the inventory being so low, and because it was such a high reach, and it worked out, and I've actually never done this before. I looked at what was pending in the Stuart area in that price range as far as listings pending.
Okay.
And I called those listing agents and said, do your sellers have a place to go? I just listed this. Are they downsizing, upsizing? What are they doing? So I targeted those listing agents, and one of those listing agents called me back and said, we just went under contract and they have nowhere to go. Can you get us in? So honestly, I didn't market it at all to anybody other than existing listings that are under contract, figuring somebody might need some place to go right away with no inventory.
So you went directly to a buyer source. Yeah. Well, again, Arati, this is terrific. Thank you so much for sharing a couple of secrets with us, and congratulations again on your sale. That's terrific.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we got one more we want to bring to you. We want to have Lori St. John jump in here, because Lori, you had this one. You told us when this one went on the market and now it's sold. Tell us about this amazing property that sold for 6.6.
Thanks, Mark. Always good to see you. Thanks for having me. This actually came to me through my sphere, although I didn't really know the person who called me. It was one of those things where someone had called, said, we would like you to list our house, my mom's house. And I had no idea what the house looked like because it was a brand new home. So it wasn't, anywhere to be seen. So I actually drove by the house, took a peek at it. Obviously, I brought the listing agreement. I met the client over at the house. I was just completely blown away. Literally, it's just mind-blowingly beautiful. We really connected, and I had her sign that night. We did a 1-year deal. It was an unusual home because although it's 10,000 square feet, the main house was only 3 bedrooms, and it has power lines in the back. So it was a definite challenge, but it was fabulous.
Yeah, well, there's lots to look at there. Never mind the power lines, right? There's lots of good stuff to look at too. How did you market it, Lori?
So that's a great question, because I took great advantage. Well, when Brady came on, I took a look at everything that they were doing. I immediately jumped on to the Keller Williams luxury marketing, including the marketing bar from Michael Lewis. So I did digital marketing. I also did something which was really unique, and I really loved it because it got a lot of hits. I had 2 YouTube influencers come out to the property, and they did, photo shoots, one in English, one in Spanish. It really blew up internationally. And then I also did a VIP brokers open where I strategically marketed it to all of the high agents, everyone that sold over 3 million. And it was great. It was great.
Hi, Eric here.
What was that?
Just somebody who didn't unmute themselves.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was great. So I took advantage of all of those things. My costs were, quite frankly, very minimal because I had my marketing partners really, cover me on whatever needed to be done. So my cost was really very, very, very minimal. I will tell you a brief story that I think is really important for people to know. And that is my clients that are doing a build now in Hutchinson Island reminded me that I said to them, it looks like I have to bring the buyer. And I remember saying in September that I deserve to do both sides. I want to sell both sides. I'm going to do that. I want to sell this. It's going to sell in December and it will close in January. It sold, I went under contract in December. It would have closed in January, but for the crazy appraisal, because it was impossible. They had 3 people out there. But we closed on February 7th with another listing of mine, 1.650 on the same day. So I was a very happy girl.
Yeah, so you brought the buyer to this one.
I did.
Yeah, so you had both sides of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and you guys are all gonna hate me probably, but I actually got a phone call from someone that saw it and wanted to see it. And he said he was working with his wife's friend. And I said, so how's that working for you? And he said, well, it's not really that great. I don't think she's a luxury realtor. And I didn't do this deal. I didn't do that deal. I said, well, you need to work with a luxury realtor. I said, why don't we, we just talked for a few minutes, and he said, okay. And he came to see the house and he fell in love with it and said, get my wife here. And if she loves it, then it's a done deal. It will be a quick close.
Wow. So I double dipped that one. And the two keys I have, you said here, or what we hear many times, right? Work your sphere. That's how you got the listing. And then you were active about seeking out buyers and brokers who worked with buyers in the over 3 million range to create a VIP event to really drive traffic.
Yes.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, Lori, congratulations. We're super excited. What a terrific sale this was for you.
Thank you. It was. It really catapulted me. Like, and there's just so many things going on now. It's crazy. I love it. You know, love all my KW peeps and all, and you guys are amazing. And one day I'll be that $1 million like solo agent, like so many of you amazing people out there.
Well, you're off to a great start in the first quarter of 2022. Thanks again for sharing with us, Lori.
Yeah, you bet.
Awesome. All right, I want to bring Kathrin in now. And Kathrin, this is great because we're seeing just fabulous success all around South Florida.
We lost you, Mark. We don't hear you.
Okay, there we go. I'm back. What we're hearing again is the power of sharing to your sphere and then having a strong marketing plan, right?
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
really happy to hear the success stories of other agents. Congratulations to both of you. And I'm sure there was a lot of other agents that had great sales.
Yeah, and we know that part of the power of this call is to see the other agents on here and to know that we can build relationships. We just had a great time with that at Family Reunion. I know so many of you were up on the rooftop out there in downtown Orlando, and we had a great time. You were up there, weren't you, Kathrin? Did I see you up there? I can't even remember. There were so many people up there.
I don't remember a rooftop, but there was a lot of fun, so.
All right, I'm sure you were making connections with Family Reunion, which is really cool. And the rooftop party was really fun downtown. So, all right, Kathrin, let's take a look at the regional numbers. We don't have the luxury numbers for you today, but we put in a request to get an update on the luxury numbers. But we did want to give you some regional perspective for those of you who may not have been plugged in as much. We have 34 market centers and 77,431 agents. 7431 is what we've got. So here's what the numbers translate to. And Kathrin, what we always do is we put best, month ever. We put an asterisk next to that. And as you read these, Kathrin, share with us what jumps out to you and what you notice about the asterisks.
So that means best month ever year over year, right?
Yeah, best February ever. So it would be in all the years, 15 years or so of existence, closed volume, all-time record, 1.2 billion in closed volume. We've never closed more than that in February.
Listings taken, very strong, 834 million. That's pretty amazing in 1 month.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that doesn't include the buyers. That's just the listings.
Right. Then we've got the listings sold side. So here's the piece. When we look at this, we see all their asterisks next to volume. And even though we've had a strong month, we don't see the asterisk next to units. So what does that tell us?
That the price point is going up.
The price point is just soaring, which is kind of what Arati shared with us, right? That they put a reach number out there and they actually hit it for the seller's goal. So what's the danger in that, Kathrin? What do we have to be careful of?
We have to be careful that, we don't hit into a market correction, and that we also set the right expectations with our sellers, because some people think it's going to go like this for forever. And some people also want to have unrealistic prices.
Yeah, right on. And the other thing I would add in there is let's keep our eye on units more than volume, because if we also go to closed GCI, that is an all-time record for us in the region. So it feels really good, right? 33,136,183, 33 million in closed GCI for our agents in a single month. So everybody's feeling great, albeit we have to do a lot more work now. We have to write a lot more offers sometimes, but we're feeling great. And yet our listing count and our units sold count is not an all-time high. And we want to really keep pushing the unit count as much as we can, right?
Well, the one thing I want to say, when I look at my production, I really focus now on units, not on GCI and not on volume, because really that determines if you are successful on a long run. Because if you sell 20 units or 100, it makes a big difference. So don't just focus on price point, because if the market shifts, the luxury listings, the high super uber luxury listings are going to be really hard to sell. So make sure that you have a good mix in your listing inventory of also like normal listings, I call them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's units, right? We really want to get focused on units. And we love the high price points. That's part of the attractiveness of luxury, but we really don't want to lose track of units.
Exactly.
So in profit share, 359,000 in February, also a nice number, not an all-time high, but a nice number. We were an all-time high last year. We did over 190 million as a company in profit share. So profit share is as strong as ever. All right, so Kathrin, you've got a great guest for us today. Why don't you introduce her?
Okay, so we have a real treat for you all today. We have Tasha Corrigan with us. She is in the Gary Keller Mastermind of the top 100 solo agents. She is also an MREA, a millionaire real estate agent. And she was last year on the list of the top 50 solo agents in the world with Keller Williams. Tasha, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for the lovely introduction.
So Tasha,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about like how much did you do last year in volume and in units, since we just spoke about units, and then tell us a little bit on where you are.
So I'll start with where we are. So we did, well, I'll start with volume. 51 million for 2021. And that is about 35 units for us. This year, so far year to date, pended and closed, we're at 45 million. So we're off to a pretty good start. I'm happy with it anyway. We'll just keep rolling along and see how long that goes. Let's see, I'm in Destin, Florida, out of the Destin, Florida Market Center. So, which is like North Florida and West. We're on the Gulf Coast. But I service Destin, Florida to Panama City Beach, Florida. There are all these little beach towns that are in between. There's this area called County Highway 30A, and it's 19 miles long. Speed limit's 25 miles per hour. And there are all these little communities through there, like Seaside, Watercolor, Rosemary Beach, Alice Beach, Water Sound. So it's kind of hard to describe exactly where I am.
Isn't that where they filmed the Truman Show?
It is.
Okay,
Yes.
so now you know.
Yep.
Now we all know
Tasha,
where
you
you
cover
are.
all those areas? Do you make it a point to cover all those areas?
We do cover all those areas. Yeah, because it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Because take, for instance, Rosemary Beach, the neighborhood that I live in, it's 120 acres. So, you know, we have 550 homes. So, yeah.
Really boutique.
Yeah.
Okay. So who are your clients?
Well, it's changed. It's changed a lot. So our clients are anywhere from, we have lots of CEOs, lots of, you know, people that have sold businesses recently. You know, our main area where our clients come from is basically Southeast, I would say. A lot of people from Atlanta, a lot of people from Nashville, lots of Texas people. We're starting to see more New York come into the area, and more Los Angeles, some San Francisco coming into the area. So they're trickling in slowly.
And are they gonna be like there the whole year, or is it more like a secondary market?
So we're primarily second homes, investment properties. I would say that the majority of our business is that.
Very interesting. Okay, so with your clients being in and out all the time, how do you stay in touch with your clients? How do you make sure you touch your database on a regular basis?
Yeah, because it's a second home market, it definitely makes it a little more challenging. So I like to do these micro client events, where I know, like, take for instance, you know, there are times of the year that I have gone, basically through the calendar and said, I know a lot of people are going to be in town on these dates. So we'll do these little micro client events. It'll be maybe like 5 couples. Might just be 2 couples. It just really depends on, the week and the situation. But I like to get them all together. There's a wine bar that we meet at, or I've done stuff at our office because we have a mega agent office. I've also, we've done like bonfires out on the beach, just something to kind of, stay in touch with everybody. And, I'm always asking people, hey, when are you coming to town? Because we want to make sure that we can do something to make them feel special.
That's really amazing to hear. So you, in your market, like a pumpkin festival or a Christmas photo shoot would not work.
Yeah, it would be hard. That would be a challenge for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have similar issues in Miami where I try to do big events and people are just in and out all the time. So this was a really great tip from you. So you do bonfires on the beach, you meet at a wine bar, anything else that we could consider for those clients that are not always in town?
Yeah, I mean, we have one of the neighborhoods, Alice Beach, they have a homeowners beach club. So what I'll do is, and I'm a homeowner in that neighborhood. So we will, say, hey, let's meet at the beach club. For people that don't own an Alice Beach yet, it's really a treat because they built this absolutely gorgeous space that everybody just their jaws drop every time they walk in. So it's kind of fun to be able to take people there and just, have lunch or cocktails or something along those lines. Also helps sell that neighborhood too, right? At the end of the day. So, yeah.
So you offer people a lifestyle experience.
Correct. We do. We focus on that because this is a lifestyle of living in this area. I mean, it's a really special lifestyle. These neighborhoods were built so that new urbanism communities is what we have in this area. So they were planned for, park your car and, ride your bike, walk, maybe take a golf cart, keep you out of your car for sure.
I definitely have to come visit you, Tasha.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Everybody should.
Tasha, if you're doing these smaller events, do you do more of them? And then do you have kind of a rotating targeted list of people to engage with, so you're not working with the same 15 people all the time?
Yeah. Well, I like to, I have like my core group of people in my database that, I'm always, wanting to see them, as much as I possibly can because they refer us so much business and I just truly love them as, they're just genuinely good people. So we do that. And then, I also rotate in new people and I try to make it people that maybe live in the same town but don't know each other. I try to do that too. So we try to be creative with it.
Yeah, that's great. It's interesting, Kathrin. I was talking to another agent today who said they really market hard to 65 people. Now that's a lot of core advocates, Tasha, but what you're talking about is really just core advocates, people that will give you multiple deals. Those 65 people give this other agent 35 to 40 deals a year. Wow. So that's a pretty nice rate of return on that group. And that, you may not have those numbers, but that's kind of what you're saying, right? Find out who your core advocates are, who are the people that really want to refer you at a high level and make sure you sow extra time and opportunity with them.
Absolutely. And, a good example of that is when I sold, I know there's, some of you might have heard this before, but there was a lot that I sold in this particular neighborhood of Alice Beach for $6.5 million. I found the seller from, the buyer. I found the buyer from calling for another buyer I was working with that was looking for a Gulfront home in Rosemary Beach. She said, I don't want to sell my house, but I would like to buy in this other neighborhood. So that one phone call led to, yes, selling that $6.5 million lot, but it also led to her daughter bought a property for $5 million. Her brother bought another property, for 7 million. I mean, I could add up, probably close to $50 million in business that, has come from this one phone call. So I'm not afraid of the phone. I like to, pick up the phone and get to know new people too.
Love that.
Amazing. I think this is also refers back to that exercise we do in Bold. How much is a client worth, right?
Yeah,
A lifelong client. You don't know. It's like infinite. 50 million, pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tasha, what everybody probably wants to know right now is like, how do you find listings in this market? Tell us.
Well, what a great question.
That's really what everybody wants to know.
We probably all need to talk about this at a really, really, deep level. But so I'll tell you what I've been doing lately. Some of the things I've been doing lately. So whenever I see a property come on, because I'm sure all of us, we have been seeing these crazy prices go on, and you're just thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, is that really going to sell? So I've been, and the next day it goes under contract. So I've been using that to my advantage. I've been taking that particular property, let's say it's in, like, a good example of it is a property in Seacrest Beach. They were selling in 2019 for $700,000. Now they're selling for $2.5 million. So, and you can't keep, they go under contract immediately. So everybody in that neighborhood, every time I see one of these listings come on, I'm just doing a little text to them and I'm saying, hey, hey, so-and-so, or hey, Kathrin, did you see this listing that came on the other day? It went under contract already. And I'm not asking for the listing. I'm not asking if they're interested in selling. I'm just making a contact with them and I'm seeing if they have, if they have questions. It usually creates it's a conversation starter. And I just listed one in Seacrest Beach actually for a past client that I had done that with a couple of times. And he was just like, okay, $2.5 million. If I can get that much, Tasha, let's just do it. So yeah, that's one of the little things I've been doing. Another thing that I just did this past week is reached out to a few people that are owners of vacation rental companies and asked them, what is your give me your top 5 highest producing rental homes. And because I have people that want really great investments, right? They want a good return on their money. So, so one of them has sent me their top 5 and I'm starting to reach out to them this week to see if they have any interest in selling.
This lady reached out to me out of the blue. How does she reach out? Like, does the vacation rental manager get in trouble for that? Or he doesn't know your plan of action? Yeah,
no, they wouldn't know. Yeah. He wouldn't know. And I'm not asking him for the contact information or anything like that. I'm just saying, but the one manager, he did say, well, if you think you have somebody really serious, I would be more than happy to make an introduction, which I thought that was really nice. So I'm just trying to come up with creative things that nobody else.
Those are great ideas, Tasha, because you never know when someone's going to be ready to cash out. So even if it's doing really well, this might be the time that they need to sell for some reason, right, Kathrin?
Yeah, exactly. And if they can cash out for almost 4 times of what they paid for, that makes someone definitely want to pull the trigger. And you don't do it in a very subtle way. I like that. You're not calling, asking, can I have the listing? You're just, and you do it very subtle. You're like, hey,
yeah, well, when you're dealing with high net worth clientele, a lot of them don't want that hard sales pitch. They want more of just a kind of casual, they want to know that your information and your numbers, everything you can about their neighborhood. There's a subtle way to do that though. Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Okay. So let's talk about your marketing. How does your marketing plan look like, and walk us through it?
Oh, what a great question. I would say that if I am just being totally upfront and honest with you guys, my marketing plan is practically non-existent. It's
love
something that I really need to work on.
I thank you for your honesty, because I think what we all hear is like, we see someone like Tasha speak on stages and be out there, and yet she's not perfect in everything she does. And she is, she's kind enough to admit it to us instead of just telling us a story. I love that. Like, kudos to you, Tasha. But you must be doing something. Tell us what you do right now.
Well, yeah, we do a little bit.
What they are doing.
Well, because she has a $20 million listing now, don't you, Tasha? You must be marketing that.
19.9, yes. So yeah, we've been, it went under contract really fast. It went under contract within 3 days. It was 3 showings. All 3 showings, extremely qualified buyers. If the timing would have been better, the first buyer would have bought it. But it's just a very unique property, and it's the largest Gulf front lot in this community of Alice Beach. And if anyone wants to Google Alice Beach, it's ALYS beach.com. It's an absolutely, it's eye candy. I mean, the neighborhood's just gorgeous. So I know all of us real estate agents love to look at real estate all the time. So
This is the listing, I think, isn't it here, Tasha?
it is, yes, yeah.
And how did you get this listing?
So you're gonna love this. It started out as a referral from another Keller Williams agent.
Look at that.
Yep, and I'm more than happy to pay out that referral check.
So how did you meet that referral agent, Tasha? Or did they find you on the KW referral map?
So I actually met this agent. You know, I'm always believed that I'm a connector. And so many years ago at a luxury event, actually at family reunion, I don't know if it was family reunion or mega camp, how we met. It could have even been a luxury retreat at the time. We met probably 10 years ago, and she sent me referrals, several referrals over the years for clients wanting to purchase, you know, vacation homes in the area. And you know, we got along really well. We became friends, you know, so it just so happened that she's friends with the money manager of this client. So that's how it all got connected. I had tried for years to connect somehow with this particular homeowner, and she's just not in the area that much. You know, she, when she comes down, she's, you know, she's very private, very reserved. So I had always wanted to meet her because I'd heard she's a really, really great person. And anyway, I was interviewed by the money manager for probably, he interviewed myself and 2 other agents. We started the interview process in August, and the listing agreement was finally signed on December 26th.
Wow.
It was a long process, and you went through a gatekeeper.
I
Didn't go
did.
directly to the owner.
No.
I mean, you tried, but you were turned
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So, which was fine. I met her eventually. I mean, they're great people. I'm honored to be part of the sale. And it's when it closes, it'll be the highest price to sell for a single family residence on the Gulf Coast, I think, down to Tampa. So, yeah.
Well, I remember you telling me about this listing in December, and you were supposed to put it on the market, I think, like 2 weeks ago, but
Yeah.
then you found a buyer already before. Tell us a little bit how that happened.
Yeah. So I had not really talked about this listing to a lot of people because we just kind of wanted to keep it under the radar until we were ready to go online. We had an event coming up in the neighborhood. We had a wine festival coming up, and so it was a really good time to launch the property. Well, I had this great idea of having this lovely cocktail party and, really launching it, all just, nice, and having this great event and putting it on MLS and seeing who all is out there. Well, the owner decided to stay, to come down and stay at the property that week and did not want to be interrupted. So my whole plan got thrown out the window. And we, and remind me of that party in just a second, because I have something else to add to what we were talking about earlier. But we, so we didn't get to launch it like we wanted to, but right before when I had wanted to launch, we had contacted, I contacted 3 other agents, and I knew they had this type of clientele. I was very specific about who I contacted and only contacted those 3. That one brought in the client and they wrote an offer within the hour.
So again, it was a connection, a personal connection you had made over the years being in this business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I was going to add to that about that party is that's another little thing that we have done as well, as we'll have an open house, but for a new listing, but we will have the open house just for our clients that we know that own in that neighborhood. So maybe they know somebody else that would want to, own in next to them or close to them, have a vacation home close by.
Cool.
Awesome. We have a couple of questions, Kathrin, in the chat box.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with that at all. Sorry.
No, that's all right. We'll catch up with it for you. I'll keep an eye on it. We talked about your core advocates. Is there a way you're actively looking for people that will join your database, maybe groups or places that you look for affluent people and events and things you can connect with?
I think for me, just thinking about I've been in the business for, I've been selling real estate for 20 years now. And a big one for me was just actually putting your past clients in your database.
Thing.
Revolutionary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simple thing. So starting there, for me, it was just about the more that you are around your clients, the more people that they're going to introduce you to, and then those people turn into clients. So that really for me has just been the biggest thing that I've done. And, always talking to homeowners about real estate, which everybody is loving talking about real estate right now. So, everybody's wanting to have conversations around these numbers that are flying around. So, yeah, I wouldn't say there was necessarily like one group. I would say it was just a combination and networking. And being purposeful whenever you go to a family reunion or a mega camp. I always, when I first joined KW, I always try to find agents that were in our, in our target markets where most of our business comes from. So,
well, you certainly knew your target markets. You rattled them off right away, so you know where the business is coming from. Is your business there seasonal at all? Arati is asking that.
So it is a little bit, since COVID though, no, not really. It's turned into more of, we've had a lot of people that have moved here full time. They've actually had some people that have, they'll put something under contract. Once they close, they're canceling all of the rentals on it because they're going to come and they're going to use it as their second home and they don't want anyone else in it. And so it used to be seasonal. We used to say that you would get about 21, 22 weeks of rental income per year. And now we're saying the average is about 30 to 31.
Amazing. That's like a 55 to 60% occupancy. Pretty amazing. Cool. I think we have a few people that are interested in knowing how do you break into the luxury market. And I'm particularly interested in how do you break into the Uber luxury market?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's a lot of the same, Kathrin. So I'll tell you, I love telling my story about how I broke into luxury. So I started in real estate September 11th, the actual day that actual September 11th, 2001. And that was a very challenging time, of course, but I didn't know anything about real estate, and you just don't know what you don't know. So, so I decided that I needed to make money. I mean, I started with a different company. They, showed me, this is my office, here's my key, here's my phone, phone book, and they're like, good luck. I'm like, what else do you do? So I just really, was like, okay, well, I really need to make some money. So I don't want to work with a $200,000 price point. I wanted to make more money than that. So I decided that I was just going to immediately start on this one street on the beach road. And I picked about 12 homes that I wanted to get to know the owners. I wanted to know everything about those properties. I wanted to know if they were vacation rentals, if they were second homes, if they had the intent of selling, where they came, where the seller came from. I wanted to know all of this. So that's what I did. And my first listing was for $1.2 million.
Wow.
First
listing. Amazing.
And it was for a little beachfront cottage that has since been torn down. But and I had the buyer for that. I will add, I had the buyer for that as well. Because of calling on that street, somebody else was looking to buy right next door. Wow. So that kind of is where I just focused on that, and I just kept adding to it and adding to it and adding to it.
So what you're saying is you have to become a professional, in a nice way, stalker, right?
Sure.
You have to know everything about the houses, about the people, about everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you start small, but it's okay then later on to add more and expand.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I know you are very detailed. Like the names of their pets, the names of their children, the ages of their children. I mean, you told me all of this before. It blew me away because you know everything about the people.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So started with 12 homes.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. Amazing.
So it was this one street, and then I went, okay, I know this street pretty well, so let's get to know the other street. And then, I ended up getting to know the whole subdivision, but also knowing your numbers, right? I mean, that's the first thing you have to do whenever you're working in any price point, not just the luxury price point. You need to know your numbers, and that's immediately what sets you apart from the majority of other agents. I think that's what I found anyway.
Understanding the marketplace. You are a single agent, Tasha?
I am a single agent. I have a transaction coordinator and I have an assistant.
Okay. So Alexis is wondering what kind of things you leverage out. What do you leverage out?
Yeah, anything I can.
Yeah.
So we have the transaction coordinator. He is also really kind of just manages the team. We are one assistant down right now. I usually have two. I also leverage out showings. So if I can, there are some people that they just want to work with the name, with you. They don't want to work with, be passed off on to anyone else. And I understand that. And I can appreciate that, especially whenever you're working at the luxury level and you are signing, non-disclosure agreements and things like that. So if I can, I do have the assistant is licensed, and she does show property. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Did COVID change the way you do business, and are you still doing whatever you may have done, whatever change you may have made?
I would say one of the biggest changes that we made during COVID was we started doing Zoom listing appointments and Zoom buyer consultations. We still do that for sure. I think that from a second home perspective is important because you get to know each other so much quicker when you see each other's faces. So yeah, and that's gone really well. And then you can also get them to sign the buyer agreement faster. Listing agreement gets signed faster. You know, they're not waiting until they come to town because they want to meet you in person. You know, there's things, it seems like for us anyway, it's sped up the process for us in a lot of ways.
So tell me a little bit about the buyer and seller presentation. How long does it normally go?
I would say, well, depending on the personality, of course, 45 minutes is probably the average.
Probably 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, great. You know, or getting the ID on the Zoom can be a challenge too. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark, do you have any more questions? I mean,
And I think this has been great. Tasha, congratulations on all your success, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
We've gotten the message clearly that we need to take care of our sphere, and whatever it is that is your thing, right? Whether it's small events or big events, really nurture that core group and your sphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, anyone, if they want to reach out to me, if they have any questions, please feel free to. I'd be more than happy to help out in any way I can.
That's terrific. We've got your information up on the screen now so that people can reach you. If you haven't visited Destin, you need to visit Destin. It's a lot of fun. They even have zip lines in between some of the places there, so you can practice your zip lining, which is kind of cool and fun. We've been up there. It's been a few years, but we've been up there. It's a great area.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you again.
Let me know when you're back.
We will let you know. The other thing that I thought was fascinating is your marketing. You felt like you could be a little better, but I hope everyone heard a $20 million listing sold in 3 days. 3 days. So the name of the game is what you started out asking about, Kathrin. It's getting the listing, because when you control the listing, you control the market and you control your business, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So great stuff. Thank you, Tasha. We appreciate you sharing.
Amazing. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can hang around if you want a little bit. We're going to tell everybody about the digital marketing tool. Just reminding you that you have the Michael Lewis marketing suite that you can use. We've got some digital marketing that we as the region work with Michael Lewis to help you provide for free. So don't hesitate to use that. You can just go to the luxury address you see there and get more information on that, Kathrin. It's just a leverage point, right, for people?
Absolutely. And they can take it out of your hands and take it over.
Yeah. And 2 great other learning opportunities for you. One is the Luxury Learning Series with Brady Sandahl. Now that's everybody is welcome to participate in that. Open to all KW agents from 1 to 1:30. This year it's every second Friday. So the next one is April 8th, if you're marking your calendar. Everybody is invited to that. There's also a Luxury Spotlight Series, which is for the earned in members only. And if you are an earned in member, just know that March 23rd is the next one of those. And Kathrin Brady's going to be popping around the country for these. He's going to be in La Jolla next.
Nice.
So that'll be kind of fun to see just the different pieces. I noticed he just did one in San Antonio and had some cover shots of the city and then did the interview with 2 great agents. So if you missed some of these, you may be able to go and access them on the luxury site. So peek in there. There's some great videos with additional information and stuff that's being shared. Spring Masterminds. I don't know if this is on your radar, Kathrin, but we do have Spring Masterminds coming up, and there is. I was cool to find out today. There's a luxury reception there, and that'll be the night before the event starts. So the event is Thursday, April 21st. It's the night before the event starts in Nashville, Tennessee, and we just heard Tasha say that one of her great listings came from a fellow agent, from a referral. This is something you focused on really hard, Kathrin, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Lots of referrals.
Well, and a 1x12, right, would be typically what we would tell people. So as you meet people, whether it's on the rooftop in Orlando at family reunion, or if it's at this event in Nashville, you want to come back and call them and just remind them that you met them and how great it was to meet them, and remind them where you're from and that you'd love to help them with anything they have so that you win that top of mind share. It's huge. It paid massive dividends for Tasha with that $20 million listing came from a referral, right?
Yeah.
So,
Amazing. I'm so proud of her.
yeah, it's fundamentals. It's doing the fundamentals.
Mhm.
All right. And then last thing before we go is our next luxury mastermind. Kathrin, you're doing an amazing job lining up these guests. So we so appreciate you partnering with us on this. And we've got another opportunity coming up April 19th. Have you got another luxury guest in mind for us, Kathrin?
Yep, I have someone already in mind.
All right, we're good. So we'll dig somebody up, and I know you'll do a great job finding out some information, some stuff everybody can share. Kathrin, it's been great to spend time with you, and we learned so much from Tasha today about the fundamentals and doing them at a really high level. What I loved is that, you know, sometimes we've had people that do bigger events, wine tasting events, or art events, or certain of things. She really talked today about doing special, small, really intimate, sort of even 1-to-1 or 4-to-1 type of events with small groups of people.
Yeah. And I think this is so important for certain markets. I was able to learn a lot from her because my market is similar. And I think we have a lot of people on here that have similar problems. They look at other agents doing those mass events, and in the luxury sector, you don't really have those people either attending or they're not always in town. So I'm very appreciative of Tasha for sharing how she does the small events. So it is possible to do just on a smaller scale.
Yeah. So thanks again to Tasha for sharing. Kathrin, thanks for lining this up. And we look forward to seeing everybody next on April 19th. If you want to know what's going on in the region, you can go to our regional site. I don't know if we need to put up the link for that, Ariel, or not. But we have the regional site that you just dropped in the chat box. We have a career visioning class coming up, among other things, which is at the end of the month. So if you're looking to hire people, we'll be doing an event here in Clearwater on March 30th. We've got a great group of people already committed to coming. So it's going to be a great time learning the career visioning process. And learning is always the key to growing your business, right, Kathrin?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, do you do a growth plan as you look at your whole year, Kathrin, and what pieces you want to learn?
So for me right now, I'm all about wealth building. So yes, I do check like what is my production? Am I ahead or behind? I know what I want to produce, but for me, it's like, okay, I want to buy 4 more houses this year. So that's really what I focus on right now.
Yeah, so that's a part of your growth for sure. And then you can also have learning events, training events, things like that. You get a recharge on there, which is going to be in Philadelphia, I think, this year.
They're doing
All kinds of great
again,
stuff.
right, Mark? They paused them for a few years, the recharge, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so
I've seen that. I definitely want to go to that one.
yeah.
Interesting. I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Another great way to network with our fellow KW agents. So
especially since we all work so hard and we're all so stressed out all the time. And I really want to say that. And Gary Keller's mastermind, Gary said that all of us aged the last year worth 3 years. So we all aged 3 years. So give yourself some grace. Take a day off if you need to. And the recharge event is a really amazing event that everybody should go to.
yeah. So if you need information on that, let us know, but you can find that on the KW site as well. Kathrin, thanks again. Tasha, thanks again. We appreciate seeing everybody. If we can help you, let us know. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Tasha.